Lawns have many cons and make no sense. They constitute a net expense. They're not used for anything except maintenance or to hold a sign that says for rent. Half the time they're hidden by a fence, which leads us to the million-dollar question. Why are lawns there in the first place? To investigate this fascinating problem, I hired a team of dedicated scientists and historians to conduct high-fidelity research on the matter using a specialized website called www.youtube.com. The end result was a masterpiece in audiovisual media called Edwin Beard Budding, whose beard was a bit past having just been budding, bought a bit of wrought iron and built a push mower for fields with balls, bodies, and beautiful botany in them. And we'll always need those kind of lawns. Nobody's saying that cemeteries can have other kinds of shrubberies, but the idea that each individual household should plant or maintain their own lawns that don't produce produce and aren't big enough to be used as soccer fields didn't occur to anybody for most of human history, probably because it's not a good idea. But sometimes we don't want good ideas. Sometimes we want to feel better than other people, which is exactly the emotional weakness that preoccupied the English and French aristocracy in the early modern period. One day, around the time Shakespeare died probably, some rich guy, or Hamrish, decided to nurture his conceit and display it publicly by setting aside large portions of his land purely for non-agricultural aesthetic purposes. Unfortunately for the entire human race, this was his idea of what constituted aesthetically pleasing. Other people saw his goats or his slaves grazing or scything his grass, and it somehow harmed their egos. Probably some of them were conceited too. And before you knew it, you had a bunch of copycats comparing or measuring their lawns. Probably one of them was named the Joneses. I wasn't there. Sometimes we have conflicting sources. Maybe we'll never know. But it's certainly evident that some of these conceited people took their seeds with them to the New World, establishing the same trend there. Hundreds of years later, when the boys came home, vast swathes of housing needed to be constructed because our grandparents were popping up everywhere like hotcakes. In response to this demand, the unanimous opinion of the American middle class was that each new home should have an unproductive half-acre of exactly the same foliage. Sensitive botanists everywhere were devastated by this new development, which undermined their belief that shrubbery should be beautiful. But Richard Nixon initiated a nationwide smear campaign against skilled gardeners and commissioned the Public Relations Department to systematically re-educate all members of the National Association of Landscaping Professionals until they all believed that the middle class shouldn't have crops. Finally, even people who weren't conceited now had to regularly till their fields like slaves used to, using Mr. Beard Budding's mechanical goat, just like God intended. Thankfully, in December of 2019, Christopher J. Watson and his friends published an article in the Journal of Applied Ecology which discussed the ecological and economic benefits of low-intensity urban lawn management. This is an academic way of saying that mowing your lawn less will mean less physical damage to plants. They also found that using your lawnmower moderately less results in moderately lower maintenance costs for your lawnmower. This, of course, came in the wake of their groundbreaking discoveries that walking forwards makes you go forward and walking backwards makes you go back. The point of Watson and company's elementary evasive posturing and roundabout argumentation is probably to gently suggest that the way we use our urban green spaces are currently insufficient, mostly to an audience that already believes the same thing. But to their credit, it's true that most of these rudimentary observations don't seem to be properly understood by a lot of people. Maybe since we've grown up next to these things, there's just a manufactured comfort to them that isn't based on merit. Maybe people just don't know what else to put in this part of their property, or they think that things are good just because they've been there for what seems like a long time. Does this mean that we'd rather pay for perpetual needless maintenance and occasionally act like slaves than have one brainstorming session? Or does it mean that I'm just as much of an eggplant as the herbologists I claim to critique? These, like many other questions in the universe, will remain forever unanswered, at least until we find out what the answers are. With that, I conclude the presentation of my ground-related findings. For more high-quality academic research, for the love of God, do not watch my highly inconsistent and experimental video essays. Try hitting the bell icon to get notified when they drop, so you can be sure to keep a wide berth and avoid misinformation. Until next time, I hope you have a good one, and I hope you eradicate your lawn.
Come on, let's make this blue moon shine all day. Let's make this world of everything